Most people don't lose interest because something goes wrong. They lose interest because something feels too easy to access, too available, too predictable. And the strange part is, the harder you try to keep someone interested, the faster that interest can disappear. Not because effort is bad, but because over-effort changes how you are perceived. And perception is what actually controls attention. Let's start with a simple situation. You meet someone. You like them, so you do what most people do. You show effort. You reply quickly. You keep the conversation alive. You ask questions. You try to stay engaging. At first, this works. There is momentum, energy, connection. But then something shifts. Their responses change. Shorter replies, slower timing, less initiation. And you feel it, so you adjust. You try harder. You become more available. You add more energy. But this is where the problem starts. Because effort, when it becomes constant, stops feeling like value and starts feeling like pressure. What's happening underneath is simple. When someone has to do very little to keep your attention, they don't feel tension. And without tension, there is no pull, no curiosity, no reason to think about you when you're not there. Everything becomes too easy, too clear, too predictable. And predictability removes emotional weight. Most people assume attention grows with consistency, but emotional attention grows with contrast, with space, with uncertainty, with moments where everything is not fully resolved. When everything is smooth and predictable, the brain stops engaging deeply. So, when you try too hard to maintain connection, you accidentally remove the very tension that creates interest. You make everything too stable. At the beginning of any connection, there is uncertainty. You don't fully know how the other person feels. And that uncertainty creates mental engagement. But when you try to remove all uncertainty, you remove the emotional pull that comes with it. Everything becomes clear. Now here's where most people make things worse. When they feel distance starting to appear, they panic. So they increase effort. More messages, more explanations, more checking in. But this does not fix the shift. It accelerates it. Because now the imbalance becomes stronger. One person is overinvesting. The other is stepping back. And that creates pressure instead of attraction. The more one side pushes, the more the other side retreats. Not because they dislike you, but because the dynamic feels heavy. When you over-try to maintain attention, you communicate that their attention is something you need, and that pressure always reduces attraction over time. At the same time, over-effort removes mystery. It is about not overexposing everything instantly, not filling every pause with words, because silence creates space, and space creates interpretation, and interpretation creates emotional engagement. When there is no space, there is nothing left to interpret. Everything is already solved, and when everything is solved, attention naturally fades. So the real issue is not effort itself. It is effort without balance, effort without space, effort without contrast. People don't stay interested in what is easiest to access. They stay interested in what they are still trying to understand. That doesn't mean being distant or cold. It means not overcorrecting every moment of silence, not rushing to fix every delay. When you stop trying to force interest, something subtle starts to shift. You stop over-checking responses. You start responding instead of chasing. People notice this shift. They notice when you are no longer over-pushing. And that changes how they engage with you. Because interest is not created by intensity. It is created by balance, controlled rhythm between the two. If you want more simple psychology tips like this, subscribe for more.